Okay, everyone, welcome to Voicepal fifth discussion. And we are going to discuss book that we have read in April 2021. And just like any other discussion we had, we are going to have five questions to answer. And I think because we only five of us, let's just one question, what every five question for one people at once. Who's with me, right? Or one question for everyone. Which one is better?
Yes, like the last time, right?
Okay, five question for one people at once, right?
Yeah, I forgot the question.
Yeah, okay. I will put the screen. I will do this share screen. All right. Can you see my share screen? So, who's gonna be the first? Mas Jerry, you would like
Yeah, yeah,
to be the first one? Do you want to
yeah.
share your screen?
Yeah, I would like to share the screen if it's possible.
All right. I will type the first question.
Mm-mm.
So you remember the question already.
Yeah, yeah. I think,
The
I
first
think.
one is about the general idea and the best key lessons.
Mm-hmm.
The second one, the things that you don't like from the book.
Yeah.
And the third one about the rate.
Mm-mm.
And the fourth one, do you want to say or ask something related to your books or to related to the other books people?
Mm.
And the fifth one is what do you want to read next?
Okay. But first, I would like to just present a little bit because just to make my presentation is
Okay,
well,
go ahead, Mas.
well organized, well structured. So can everybody see my screen? Everyone can see my screen.
Yes, we saw your screen.
All right. So first of all, thank you very much, Mas Ratu, for the time given to me to present the book that I read this month. Based also on our voice note last month, I have announced that I read the Winner's Brain, the Winner's Brain in original versions, and in translated version is Otak Pemenang ya. And this book is written by Dr. Jeff Brown. He is an assistant clinical professor in the Department of Psychiatry at Harvard Medical School and also a cognitive behavioral psychologist for Boston Marathon Medical Team. Together with Mark Jefensky, PhD, Mark is a cognitive neuroscientist and professor in the Department of Psychology at the University of Guelph, Canada. And his research combining neuroimaging technique with study of human behavior. So you can do further research on these two guys, two authors, which is apparently the first book that they wrote in collaboration is this book, The Winner's Brain. And what is the winner according to the author? So to be specific, the winner that they are talking about is the people who meet with extraordinary success in their particular aspect of their life. They value the most. So not necessarily the same thing like having a lot of money or success in a very common way, but they they have success in particular aspect of their life of life they value the most. Because in this book, the author also interview a cab driver. So apparently, a cab driver is really low. If in our some perspective, is a low, probably paying job, but it is also considered as the winner by the author, also artist or even a college graduate. So that's basically the the definition of winner in this book. So winners are those who achieve extraordinary success in aspect of their life they value the most. And what is in this book, it will talk about 8 strategies great minds use to achieve success. So basically, this book will explain how the cognitive mechanism of human brain are associated with success. So this is very interesting because the author also said that for some self-development book is always viewing from the behavior aspect, yeah, not from the not from. So they are going to discuss it from neuroscientist perspective, something like that. So in this book also they will present it 8 win factors that help these winners, the so-called winners, to achieve their success, which is self-awareness, motivation, focus, emotional balance, memory, resilience, adaptability, and brain care. And how did they do this research? I have to do this slide because I think I will not be able to do it verbally, so I do it like this because it's a new thing for me. So basically, how they do the research is they do the brain scan, right? So as they measuring psychological changes related to neural activity, such as the increases in blood flow within the brain, or they use the fMRI or functional magnetic resonance imaging that can help us see which area of the brain relatively more active and participating as the corresponding thought, emotion, or behavior is playing out. So they see kind of the relations between the activity of the brain. What is the part of the brain that is active when emotions or behavior is playing out? So that's kind of the way they do the research, and then they be able to explain. For example, if someone sneak up behind us and yell "boo," so the installed job of fear that surges through our body associated with increased activity within the amygdala. Everybody knows amygdala already, right? You see it often in the book self development. So that's the part of the brain that is related to evaluating the possibility of harm. So amygdala is basically when you face threat, amygdala will blinking, like, so something like that. So that's how they do the research. Also, in making conclusions, the author spoke to top thinkers in the field of neuroscience and psychology to draw a solid conclusion. So it's not just relying on their own conclusions, but they also do a research on previous research about this topic, and then also uh, talking to top thinkers in the field. Yeah. So to ensure that they presented the comprehensive and cutting edge view of how the brain works. So I think this book is the author really know what they're doing with this book. So it is safe to say that they are presenting a very good work, and it's worth to read lah, something. So what about the writing structures? The writing structures in the part 1 of this book, the author will explain a quick tour of the brain itself. So for me as a new thing, new this brain thing is new for me. So it is for me it is easy. It is very easy to follow because part 1 of the book they will explain us about they explain to us about the quick tour of the brain, which part of the brain, and the history of neuroscience as well. And part 2, then they do the presentation on the 8 win factors that I presented earlier. So, and in the middle of its pages, they will present also the dozen of simple to do called brainstorm. So while you're reading the book, they will give you brainstorm tips, something like activity that you can do to enhance your brain, or you can practice immediately. in your daily life. So this is very practical also. Besides theoretical, this is also practical. And my opinion about the book is it is very easy to follow, and sometimes I don't understand without, although sometimes I don't understand without the help of dictionary because it's neurology, yeah. But overall 90% is easy to read. So I basically compare Bahasa and translation versions. Bahasa in I bought this Bahasa versions, and then I read the PDF versions of the English version. All right. And what's which part I like the most in this book? When this book is talking about the chapter number 7, adaptability. So adaptability is actually talking about neuroplasticity. What is neuroplasticity? Is probably everyone have heard about this. The ability of our brain to adapt its way of operating. So our brain is actually not static, but it can reshape based on emotion, based on thinking, and based on behavior that we do. So this is the book. This is how the author explained that the correlations between behavior and how the behavior shape your brain, or the shape of brain effect of the shape of the brain will affect your behavior, something like that. So our brain is actually not static, but it is very apa namanya, can expand or can be reshaped. So in this chapter, the author will give the experience of London cab driver against GPS. So when they make a competition between London cab driver with a driver with GPS, they found out that uh, London cab driver traditional way win by 30 minutes. So London cab driver arrive at the destinations 30 minutes earlier than the driver with GPS, right? And later on, when the scientists scan the brain, they scan the brain of this London cab driver, they find out that there is part of their brain that is really different with other average brain, which is hippocampus. Their hippocampus, the brain, the part of the brain that related to navigations is larger than any other average brain. So that's what neuroplasticity is about. And there is also the story of Stephen Harris that is switching from one career to another career, which is from basis of a band from 17 years old, and at the age of 36 years old, he decided to be a doctor. So we can witness that there is the author said there must be some several changing of his brain structure along the way from the age of 17 until the age of 36. And there is also the story of Lazar who witnessed that yoga and meditations is actually contributing to reshape the brain. So this is the story that given by the author about how our brain is can be changing, constantly changing, depend on what we do. Yeah. So and then this is also the example of long-term stress and depression can cause areas of the brain to shrink. So we must be careful of what basically we must be careful of our emotions, our thought, and our behavior or action because it can affect your brain, right? And also just as repeatedly engaging in negative thought and action can lead to undesirable brain alterations. So that's the very correlation or relation between your thought, your emotion, and your action that affect your brain. And there is another say, the quote that every time you think a thought, feel an emotion, and execute a behavior, there is always some or sort of corresponding change to your neurocircuitry. and even minuscule, a very thin physical changes of the brain can bring about substantial changes in thought and behavior. So you can imagine if someone have an accident and they have the brain part of the brain break, you can imagine how they affect to their thought process and behavior, right? So yeah, what is the other question just now, Mas Ratu? Did I like the book I read? Something like that. What is the questions?
The question is, what is your rating out of the 5 stars?
All right. So my rating about this book is actually, if you go to Goodreads, you will find that everybody is giving rating below 4, which is I don't know why, but I would say I will give this book 4 star out of 5. Yeah, because it gives me a new knowledge about the topic. And the last one, the takeaways that I have from this book is actually there are many takeaways, but I just take this a few to present over here. Is that our brain is not static, yeah, it's keep changing with the term called neuroplasticity, and actually you can program it the way we want it by our action, behavior, or emotions. And there is also neurobics. Our brain muscle can be developed with mental gymnastics, such as learning new language, like Theo just now. Yeah, he has a very good mental gymnastic. Learn new language, playing music instrument, and not class, and also playing video games. One of the mental exercise that can improve the ability to control the focus and attention. So playing video game is good as long as apa namanya, not too much ya. But it's good to book say this book say good for mental exercise. Also enforcing positive thinking will result positive emotion that will help us to change or reshaping our brain. The book also suggests meditation and yoga, good to exercise to help to reshape the better brain. And exercise like running or physical activity, that's also good to increase attentional focus, right? Reduce learning and memory, reduce impulsivity, enhance mood, lower stress, and increase the volume of important structures in the brain. So that's really basically that's all that is discussed in the book, the Otak Pemenang. They starting from self-awareness to brain cares in the last chapter, chapter 8. So that's all I can share today. And what is another question, Mas Ratu? I see.
The next question is, are there any questions you would like to ask to others,
Yeah.
or do you want to answer some questions
Oh,
from others regarding to your book? Actually, that's the question for the fourth one, and the fifth one is, what do you want to read next and why?
okay. So the
I
fourth
think
one.
I think for the next reading, we
Yeah.
can answer it later on, and
Okay. Good.
can discuss the fourth question first.
The four questions.
I have
Actually,
a question.
yes. Yes. Go ahead.
So my question is there anything from the book that you have not heard before? Like
Have not have
have
not
not
heard
heard
before.
before, yeah, like something new that you have not read before in other book.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
uh,
Thank you, Kak Pipit, for the question. Actually, neuroplasticity I have heard before, but it's not that details. Later, when I read this book, it gives me explanation about neuroplasticity with the example, and I know I finally know what is neuroplasticity and how it works. So that's the things that I finally understand. Uh,
okay, so things that we do to get the maximum from neuroplasticity, have you tried it and did you feel anything different?
uh, I'm not I'm not yet trying that things, but I think I will do that. But exercise like mentioned in the book in the chapter 8, the brain care. I did exercise like running, but previously I didn't know what is the effect to the brain. But finally, when I read this book, then I know that exercise is actually part of the brain care that will help the brain to the activate the neuroplasticity, because it will release more positive neurotransmitters in my brains, and then it will affect also to my thought and my behavior, something like that, Kak.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Kak Pipit. So is there anyone else to that would like to ask questions about the book?
Do you want to ask us any question related to the book, the things that you might want to, survey?
Yeah, I do actually. Just would like to in case you have read, in case you guys have read book about the same topic that I'm reading here. So do you guys agree that actually the brain and behavior is it's related in a way that when you when your brain is when there is part of our brain is the mates or is not functioning very well, it will affect our behavior. And on the other way, if we do some kind of let's say negative behavior, will affect some part of the brain. In other words, will damage our brain, something like that, if we do a negative thing. Do you guys agree, or have you read any book that confirm this statement?
I have an opinion about that.
Yeah.
So I think legally, what a person can be announced dead
Yeah.
when they lose two function, a function in two organs.
Yeah.
One is the heart,
Yeah.
jantung, and the other is brain,
Mhm.
otak.
Yeah.
If one of them dead, it's actually the person can be declared legally dead.
Okay.
So I've seen a lot of cases when people their body is still alive, like the heart still working,
Yeah.
right, still pumping blood, but the brain is dead, so brain dead
Brain dead.
basically, and the person is considered legally dead. So from this legal definition, we know that brain is, if not the most important thing, then I don't know what is. So
Mm.
that's how I view it.
Yeah. So it's basically confirm also the statement in this book. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Kak Pipit. So I would suggest this book to you guys if you are interested to know how is your brain affect your behavior, and on the other way around, how actually your behavior will help to shape your brains. So depending on your behavior, if it's negative one, then it's tend to shape your brain into a negative apa ya, to change to your brain into negative form in terms of the output, ya. Because if you do negative thing over and over again, it will do some sort of reaction in your brain, and then even though you would like to stop that habit, you cannot, because it's already formed in your brain for such a long time. So sometimes the therapy would help for that things. And it's very much related. I remember reading about atomic habits. If I'm not mistaken, the James Clear once had the accident when playing sport, right? He has some kind of brain injury. So he basically do this habits, small positive habits to I think yeah, related to the reshaping of the brain. I think that's why he able to write this atomic habit. Okay, anyone else to share or to add to this? This is really an interesting topic.
Yeah. May I sharing a short story?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, I have brother, second brother, and he has friend, a very close one, and they went to STM, SMK.
Mhm.
Kids from STM or SMK, especially boys, they like to, hanging out, riding their motorbike. And then my brother and his close friend got accident. His friend got head injury.
Yeah.
For a couple weeks, stay at hospital. But after he went out from hospital, he came to our house. And I surprisingly saw and spot his difference. He liked to smile a lot, and he
Yeah.
waved my hand like Idul Fitri. Every single moment when he met me, he shake my hand, and I told my brother and my mother what happened to him. Uh, and they told me that he got brain injury, pretty bad, and it changed his attitude, the way he treat people around him. And few years after the accident, I came to his house because my brother and this close friend is still, berteman
Yeah.
after finish their study in STM. And I saw different behavior. He didn't shake my hand again, and he didn't laugh so much. Put smile in his face like the way he used to be when after the accident.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, the brain gets better or reshape itself, gets healed by itself through time. And yeah, imagine if we get pretty bad head trauma and it changed our personality, but turns out time doesn't heal.
Yeah.
So it's pretty dangerous.
Yeah.
Brain is
The
the
valuable asset of human.
yeah, valuable asset.
Yeah, in this book actually also there is one story about a girl that is once had a accident also. He was beaten up to death, like he has a very severe injury in the brain, but because of the he motivates herself. He has a resilience that that he want to be better, that he will quickly recover, something like that, and then finally he could be able to gain 100% of her brain back. So it's fascinating that, like, but let's say it can heal itself, but also through the like I said just now, it's through the enforcement of our thought, our emotions, and our behavior.
But no one knows, even doctors, even scientists, no one knows exactly the exact time when the brain gets healed by itself. That's the worst part. When
Ah,
you are working at, company and your behavior changes drastically, uh, how how people around you, your colleagues, your friend at work, manage that. If you have family, they can accept the way who you are, but how people um, at work accept that, that
right, right.
is something. Wow, I feel like
Some suddenly become alien.
yeah.
Thanks, Khalid, for the addition to the.
Yeah,
to
most
this
welcome.
presentation. So I hope you guys have a little bit insight of this book. So yeah, thank you, Mas Ratu, for the time. Also, is all questions answered, Mas Ratu?
The last one will be discussed later on
Sure. Yeah.
about the next book.
Okay. All
Thank
right.
you very much.
You're welcome, Mas. Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mas Jerry. Such a thorough slides with a little nice conclusion. I got that uh, brain mental atau brain how to say such as learning new languages,
Yeah.
playing games, still important.
Right.
So I think it's related to also my book that I will discuss later on. So a very good reminder for all of us to take care of the brain, not only taking care of like protecting it, but also to always enhancing what's inside. Okay, and Mbak Lydia, I think you could be the second one to give your thoughts about your book. And what is your book? And I guess the question, do you want me to share the questions on the,
Yes,
all right.
yes, please.
Yeah, this is the question. Can you see it?
Clearly.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I start?
Yes, you can start.
Okay. I'm reading this book, The Storytelling Animal: How Stories Makes Us Human. Um, the book tells us about how we evolved since purbakala, since ancient, and then the story talks about how people live in early without technology, without internet, and how they entertain them by writing poem, listening and watching drama, musical drama, or simply just listening to their small group telling about stories after their um, work hard in the field, rice field. And then it involves to something like we have right now. We have books, ebooks, we have digital stuff like TV and screens everywhere, including myself. I limited myself using books, physical books, just because I don't have spare time to clean books anymore or putting books on books shelf. So I just simply buy books from internet and read through Kindle or Kobo. So next question. So where's the question? I don't see it. Okay, let me see.
What the things you don't like from the book you are reading?
Oh, the thing that I don't like from the book, the way the author or the writer arrange, because I pretty hard to track. For example, he put first chapter that talks about the mind is a storyteller, but he forgot or he intentionally forgot to put the let's say 1A, 1B, 1C, or A1, A2, and I have to go through all to the chapter. And but yeah, I finally made short notes. Yeah, short notes. Oh, so what next? so, so the next question, please. I couldn't find
The next
paper for
question, uh,
uh,
what's your rating out of 5 stars? 1 is nice, 2 is you like it, 3 is you loved it, 4 is spark joy, and 5 gonna reread this.
Oh, I will rate 5 out of 5 because I learned so much from this book. Even the writer,
Wow.
yeah, I learned how, you know, person like Adolf Hitler
Mm-mm,
was
mm-mm.
raised. Yeah, the
Wow.
way yeah, and then how a book changed civil war in United States when Abraham Lincoln spoke a novel, not a novel, a book written by a woman that spark apartheid or black people in that time. So they demand to eliminate or delete uh, apartheid politics. And then I learned from the book about life stories from the chapter life stories, how memoir can, you know, twist how writer twist story in their memoir. Even like a person, like a famous person like Oprah Winfrey, get fooled by this scene. She got fooled by a writer that he claimed that he uh, bersih, clean from using drugs and stuff. But then she and her team eventually know that it it was just a scam, something that, oh, I feel like, okay, someone like Oprah Winfrey get full. Even I like reading memoir by everyone, men and women, who shapes history, or yeah, people that know them as politicians, economists, scientists. But then I learned so much, but from this book, because you you let 1% of room for distrust. Can you you have to let yourself to, okay, this book is good, but something dark in this book, something hidden from this book. You don't have to trust 100%. That's the message that I learned. So sorry, I need to leave. Okay, Jerry. So
Okay, Mas.
yeah. Okay, Jerry, bye. Okay, that's all. Okay, any question
Photo dulu lah
for
before
me?
Jerry go.
Yeah.
Take a photo, take a photo, Mas
Oh,
Jerry.
take a
Okay.
photo.
Take a photo.
Jerry, take a
Yeah.
photo.
Apologize. So sorry, guys. So sorry.
Wow.
Because
All right.
I really.
Let's take a photo. 1, 2, 3. Again. 1, 2, 3. Okay.
Siap. Thank
Mas
you so much,
Jerry,
guys.
thank you
Thank you.
very
I will watch
much.
the recording there.
Bye,
Yep, I will upload it.
Jerry.
Bye, Kak. Yuk.
Bye, see you. Okay, continue, Mbak Lid.
Continue. I think that's
You
all.
have you have explained that you were going to
Yeah, Lid,
reread
you were
this
in the
because you
middle of your
learned so many.
sentence.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
are in the middle of your sentence.
Can anybody remind me what is the last sentence that I mentioned?
You were talking about you were so amazed that this book gave you so many lessons, including many
Oh,
stories. The book this
there
change
is,
about American Revolutionary.
yeah, American. And there is one part from this book. There is one chapter. Um, the last, yeah, the future story, story, how people imitate the character, every character they got from stories. Let's say Cosmo player, they dress like somebody else they knew from video game or yeah movie, and they dress exactly like the character they seen on screen. And yeah, the writer also mentioned about it on his book, and it expands my overview how people live in stories, not only in their reality, but they kind of running away from their reality, and they try to imitate their favorite characters through reality and sharing with their fellow community to their fellow community friends that also share the exact interest, or the same common interest, playing dressed and something like that. So that's all for me.
Do you want
Question,
to
please.
get questions? What makes you want to read this book in the first place?
So, sorry, could you please repeat once more?
What makes you want to read this book in the first place?
Oh, from the title, of course, the storytelling. Because I join votes, people like to share their stories. But when they ask you, when when they ask to explain certain matter slide picture, it seems like pretty hard for them.
Khalid, Khalid, are you there? I saw that Khalidia is breaking up. Do you guys also see it?
Movies, songs, books, and many more. But then when they were asking question about video on YouTube or about a picture, describe your opinion about this. Do you have any experience? But if they have experience, they will easily to share with the other participants or other partners. But when it came to us, came out opinion out of your head, it seems pretty hard. So that's why I choose the storytelling animal.
Because you think like you need to come up with stories
Mm,
to
yeah,
tell to people.
it is practically easy when we share common experience, common stories. But when I don't know, probably because we are mostly Asians, we are not Western, easily to get out our opinion out and share with other people. I think that is one of the, the reason why me including having difficulties to telling stories. If I not experience this particular matter, it is hard for me to imagine to imagine the event. Like Xander from YouTube, if you ever heard. Yeah, I met a kid when I was teaching in National Plus. A kid like Xander, only one kid in one class, not the rest of the other class. I taught 4 classes, but I only met a kid like Xander in just one. So yeah, pretty hard for me to tell more than over 1 minute, because I only want because I met only one kid like Xander. But if I encounter more than one mini Xander or a copy Xander, so I can share more stories. I cannot imagine something that I never experienced, or I never, I never touch or see or feel or sense. So from this book, I know now that, yeah, people like the future story from this chapter. Sometimes people running away from their routine, from their routine, heavy routine. They get out from their reality and they play with their video games, or simply watching a movie like now Ninja, something like that, and they imitate their favorite character and they bring it back to reality, and they put them as a dress and they play with their community. So we have to, me to be specific, I have to experience, I have to sense it, feel, see the story, and then I can bring it out. I couldn't made up stories out of my mind. I was simply reading books or simply reading any material and then talk out loud in front of people. It's pretty hard for me. But then, yeah, I found the reason why from this book.
Okay. I think I found what to read next. Hello? Check.
Yeah,
Kak, Kak Pipit, are you okay?
yeah, your car got dented. Wow,
Yeah, in the back.
someone hit you.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Oh my
Okay.
god.
Kak Pipit, you can actually leave
It's
decision if
okay.
you want to.
I will still listen. It's fine. Just
All
my
right.
mood is very low right now.
Okay. Okay. I hope that everything is sorted out
Yeah.
there. I myself got hit by a motorcycle in a very slow traffic,
Mm.
and I shout to the person. I asked him to set aside, how to say, and then and turns out he's just a minor, and he said this: my mother and my father already died. I only have a big brother. I feel like, oh,
Yeah,
okay, you can
it
go.
happens.
It happens,
Maybe he lied.
Yeah.
I asked her. I asked him his ID card, and okay, let's meet my big brother. I was like, okay, you can go.
Oh, you
But
finally meet the big brother?
no, no, my big brother. But I genuinely believe him because
Oh,
the face, you can tell that. But I believe him. I just let him go. The dent still there, but I can believe. I do believe that you can sort your problem there. It's difficult situations. It happens. Oh my god. So, Khalid, back to you again. And I do believe that I found a book to read next after my reading right now, because I'm also always interested to storytelling. Because storytelling is so impactful to our life, not only now, but also I believe in our early uh, age, right? People tell us lessons through story, because story connects with us easily, and somehow also people got their life purpose by the stories of others. That's how impactful the story is. And you say 5 out of 5 makes me, wow, I want to read this, and I
Yeah.
read the Goodreads, and turns out it has thousands of ratings. Amazing.
Well, I didn't see the ratings. I simply just see the title of the book. Even I don't see the author background. I just feel okay. This book is good, and after a few chapters, I go through the biography of the writer. Oh, He is a college teacher in Pennsylvania. And then, okay, this book is aligned with his specialty. So yeah, I continue to finish the book. And surprisingly also from the book, it mentioned about how fictions sends powerful message instead of non-fiction. Fictions, we can insert a message through fiction stories. Including to myself, I also reading fictions novel, and then I feel relaxed. I feel like, okay, the message pretty clear because the writer gives the same common experience, sharing the same experience or same energy or frequency, I don't know, but it feels like, okay, I got the message from this book. Non-fictions, not fictions, because when we're reading non-fictions, we have this kind of standard. Okay, this book's not good because prior reading this book, I reading about this thing, and then I read this, they encounter their opinion or their thoughts or their idea, I don't know. But it feels like when I finish reading non-fictions and then I reading another non-fictions, it feels like, okay, based on this specialist or based on this college teacher, he said like this. He said A plus C means B, or this college teacher explains about this. So they it feels like they go through different paths or different way. But when I read non-fictions, it feels like, okay, I absorb the message that I got, the message that the writers tried to put in my head. So it feels like, yeah, stories, non-fictions to be because Adolf Hitler also became a, how may I say, monster? Yeah, genocide, if ever, yeah, genocide, killing thousands of people. It became the first thing that he learned is about good and evil from nonfiction. That's the scary part. He learned about good and evil, about gods and fairies thing from German storytelling. So he didn't learn from, yeah, probably because he didn't learn from the a good teacher or good example. Yeah. So it feels like, okay, yeah, nonfiction is strong and powerful. Nonfiction has a strong and powerful tools to deliver message to us.
As long as it's story but non-fiction, right?
Yeah. But sometimes
That,
people believe in stories, like, Cosmo players, they believe that these characters exist. Sometimes I feel like, wow, these people really live in non-reality. They bring those things back to reality and put on their as their dress, and it feels like, yeah, the scary part of nonfiction. We have to be able to distinguish or separate, this is reality, this is non-reality. If you follow this non-reality, you can hurt people, you can hurt people, you can hurt yourself, you can hurt your families, you can hurt your loved ones. So we have to be very careful to to separate between reality and non-reality.
okay. Thank you very much, Khalid. I want to read this book, and then I guess you can be my voice buddy. To this.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Theo, do you want to answer the question, or should I give you another example?
Maybe another example.
All right. Okay. Let me be the one who will. Khalif, are you done? I mean, do you need to ask something to us related to your books?
Yeah. May I ask Fiorentina, have you have you been exposed to something non-reality like fairy things, like myths that you see that okay, it is myth, it is about myth, about superficial stuffs and things, but you believe under your conscious. Have you ever exposed to that situations or any experience you want to share with us?
It is hard for me to answer actually because, okay, first of all, I'm not a reader actually. I just start reading maybe since March. I hate reading a book in the past, so I just read maybe 5 books this far so far. So I haven't read any maybe book. So maybe the myth or the thing that you just want me to ask, maybe something that I just heard from people. But I think I cannot even. Am I never thinking about that. Am I ever have that experience that I believe in myth or something? Maybe, yeah, I cannot even answer because
Like your parents told you, yeah? Like your parents told you, don't go after Maghrib, don't
oh,
drive after Maghrib. You will
mm,
encounter things superficial,
okay, okay.
abstract. Yeah, do not
Mm,
shout during after Maghrib. Yeah, have you ever encountered any situations like that? And you it feels like it is nonsense. Yeah, it feels like nonsense because okay, why if I'm driving after Maghrib, what happened? do, do I have to stop my car?
mm.
Do I
But
have to stop my car because this of
yes, as a Japanese, actually, we believe in that kind of thing a lot here because, and I also live in little village, so my parents told me a lot from that. I mean, if I was grow up in maybe a big city or something, I will not gonna have that experience. But when I live in village, I do believe in that kind of thing because I live with my grandparents, so you were not allowed to play with rice, something like that. Yeah, but I know that is nonsense, but sometimes I uh just gonna believe that just based on my family told me that, so I'm not gonna do bad thing. I mean, I don't want to have a bad luck because do all of the things. So like maybe I used to do a hiking maybe in Lawu Mountain or Semeru. So people told me like you cannot swear in that place, some kind of that big. And then maybe you cannot wear a green shirt if you go to a beach like that because there is an actual event that people die in maybe in Parangtritis beach. So we as a Japanese we have to believe in that because there is a fact that is, yeah, there's an actual event happen in that beach. So yeah, we're not gonna wear a green shirt or in Parangtritis beach, some kind of that. I just believe maybe in something that just happened because there is another thing that nonsense. Like you play with rice, your hand with like this. Yeah, I'm not believing that, but not wearing a green shirt in Parangtritis, I believe in that. I know that nonsense. I mean, is Nirorokido even exist? I don't know, but all of the Japanese believe in that. Even that was actual nonsense. Maybe just because the wave in Parangtritis is just so big, or just the weather, but it actually happened in Indonesia. Maybe in Japanese in my area. So yeah.
Me too. I've been exposed to that kind of type of stories from not only from my mother, but also from my grandmother, how we as a girl don't have to, you know, certain things that we absorb as dogma from our parents. I think like, oh, it doesn't relate at all, but because of my parents and my grandparents repeatedly
Yes.
remind me. So it feels like, okay, that's real. I'm pretty scary. Okay. So if I drive after Maghrib, okay, I have to pull over, find a kedai or a shop. Just, okay, after Maghrib, I will continue my driving, continue to drive. And then, yeah, it feels like something unrelated to our, but if it puts into our subconscious, and then I pass it to my kids, and then don't scream after Maghrib, do not go outside after Maghrib, or don't play hide and seek after Maghrib. So yeah, but it feels like, yeah, it is superficial stuff, but it doesn't it less dangerous. If they play hide and seek during Maghrib, they don't salat, right?
Kak Lin,
Or
if
they,
it's
yeah, they,
playing hide and seek after Maghrib, you will never be
mm.
found.
Oh,
Yeah.
that was scary.
Yeah, sounds scary. Yeah, my
You will
parents
be kidnapped by
repeatedly,
genderuwo.
Oh, I have one. I
tuyul,
have one.
tuyul, or nene gombel.
I have one odd belief when I was a kid. The pace, the road pace, there is a line, and if you should walk without, stomping into the line, because it could, decreases your age, your longevity. Odd, pretty odd.
Yeah, that was a silly belief.
Silly, but it affects our life. I mean, like, okay, I don't believe this thing. After giving birth, I have to do this stuff, menyalakan lilin. After giving birth, menyalakan lilin. Don't go outside before 30 before 30 days. It's like, am I? It doesn't correct to any medical suggestion, mom. But if you don't follow, if something happened with you, okay, my hands is off. So I feel like,
Yes.
okay, mom, I will follow you. If not, you will ignore me or you kick me as your daughter. So if it's like, okay, mom, I'll follow. Even it, yeah, contradictory to my beliefs. I believe in something rational, but because my very close person, my mom, told me repeatedly to follow her suggestion, so I just simply followed to make it peace. Yeah, making peace with your parents, to be specific to your mother. So yeah. So yeah, your answer already. My question is already answered by you, and I would like to ask to, if you don't mind, Mbak Pipit.
Mbak
Hello.
Pipit, are you there?
Gak bisa guys, I'm now driving gantiin suami.
Okay. Okay. That,
Tuh
yeah.
lihat, I'm in driver seat no.
Be careful there.
Yes.
Be careful. Yeah. Always stay alert. We don't know, motorcycle can came across from side of our vehicle or from behind. I also experienced the exact thing when a motorbike came from gang, and then I came across with a very big motorbike, RX King, and I have to spend 1.5 million to repair my cup machine,
Oh my
because
God.
the cup machine and my condenser AC. air condenser, yeah, AC condenser pull off from its place. So it feels like, okay, the motorbike just say, very sorry, I don't have money. I'm still a college student. My parents support me. My parents support me. I don't have money. And yeah, okay. Maybe this is my very bad day. So yeah. Okay, next.
Okay, next. Thank you, Khalid, for your
Yeah.
sharing about the storytelling. What makes us human? Wow. Need to be aware. The first lesson from Jerry, to be aware that sometimes the story told by people to us is not entirely true, but it shapes the way we think.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So it's my time for sharing about my book, and I would like to share the screen. So, guys, I can you see my ikigai slides now?
Yep.
All right.
Yes, I can see.
Yeah. So, ikigai. I read this book because of the conversation I had with the Food's partner, Food's facilitator in Food's Universe. And someone said to me, because I was so confused answering one of the questions, and the questions was um, about the purpose of life. Somehow they said to me, "Oh, Mas, so you found your ikigai?" And what's my what ikigai? What is that? So and then she told me that you need to read this book, Mas. This is so good. And turns out, yes. I mean, like it is a international bestseller. I believe that most of the people I know right now have already read this book. Like for example, Kak Pipit, I think already read this book. Khalid, have you read this book? I mean, it's like a pretty mainstream book. People read,
Yeah. I had, but just a sneak peek, only few chapter, not
right?
more than 2 chapters.
Yes. So that's the reason why I need to read this book because it seems like everyone has already read this book. And the first thing that I noticed, even though this is a book, a Japanese related books, is the author is not a Japanese. Hector Garcia and Frances Miralles. They are not Japanese, but they are interested in Japanese cultures and already written several books related to Japanese. So I think they are still pretty, how to say in English, uh, pretty. Oh my God, I forgot. Pretty okay to read this book.
Credible.
Credible. Yeah, that's what I'm going to say. Credible. Thank you, Kamibit. So the next one. So the book, when I read the book, the thing that catches my attention is this phrase: "He who has a why to live can bear almost anyhow. He who has a why to live can bear almost anyhow." So ikigai is actually uh, in Japanese words mean life with to be worthwhile and translates roughly as the happiness of always being busy and a reason for being. Or the concise way to say this is like, you know, you have a purpose of your life. That's why you have the reason for being, and you always being busy because of it. That's ikigai. And there is a diagram to describe what the ikigai truly means. This is what makes me sometimes confused also when I read the book because Ikigai means a lot. What you love, what the world needs, what you can be paid for, and what you are good at, combined into one. That's your ikigai. So if somebody said to you, "What is your ikigai?" It's at least you get the idea that ikigai is what you love, what you are good at, what the world needs, and what can you get paid for. That's ikigai. And what's the connection between ikigai and the Japanese secret to a long and happy life? And it I stumble upon this chapter, and the chapter talks about how to live longer and better by finding your purpose. And one of the things the chapter talks about is logotherapy. So logotherapy is a therapy for finding your life purposes. Because believe it or not, 80% of people needs reasons to stay alive. To stay alive. Like, uh, I mean, in the book, we know already that in Japanese, the suicidal numbers are actually pretty high. But also in Japanese, the people, there is a village in the Japanese. The village is island of Okinawa, Okinawa Island. That many centenarians, how to say in English, people who live more, at least 100 years old,
100
live.
years. Yeah.
100 years old live, many, not just only one.
Centenarian.
Centenarians. Is that true? Is that correct? Centenarians. That's a
Yes, yes.
new
I,
word.
I've heard about it on YouTube.
Yeah. So what's the connection between ikigai and these people in Japan who lives more than 100 years? Turns out that they have and always keep themselves busy, and they always enjoy what they do even though it's mundane. Like Mas Jerry said before, success is doing great at what you do, even though it's maybe you have a low income job, like a taxi driver, but you are doing it very good. You are doing it passionately. It makes you feel good. That's actually ikigai and helps you in the end to have a you know l- live longer. So the first one that makes me interested on this book is how to find the purpose of my life. And turns out the answer is that you don't have to find it right now because as described on this book and also the book that I have read before, the purpose of our life is always changing and it could be changed. And somehow we have to embrace the changes. And by the time we found the purpose of our life, yeah, do it wholeheartedly. But by the time we need to change it, just change it. It's okay because it's always in constant change. Um, so there is one story in logotherapy that a mother her son, wants to kill her son, and the therapist just said this to him. Um, the suicidal mother. And Frank is the therapist, asked, imagine hypothetical situation. In which she lay on her deathbed, old and wealthy but childless. Old and wealthy but childless. The woman and again then insisted that in that case she would have felt her life had been a failure. So a mother wants to kill her child, and then in a hypothetical situation, someone asks her, "How about if you were old wealthy but then childless. Do you want to that happen in the future? And then turns out he don't want to that happen. Instead, she embraced that the real that even though uh, she has a paralyzed child, she will still be grateful for that, because if she doesn't have the paralyzed child, he will be old and lonely. So this how to say, logotherapy. Logotherapy is that the reason why uh, we could think of the future, the reason why we could think of the hypothetical situation in the future of us, that makes us the sense of purposes. That's what I learned from Ikigai book. Because to tell you the truth, the things that I don't like, the second question is from the book um, is that if you already read so many nonfiction books, self-help book, you will find that this book is so quote unquote boring, because all of the things that you will find in this book already been stated by the other book. I mean, this is just a summary of other best-selling books, just summary of everything, like diet, exercise, have a good friend, something like that. But still, for those of you think like, even though you already know about it but you don't really apply to your life, it's always nice to be reminded of the things that you haven't done, right? And one of the things that also I found is flow. And related to Kak Jerry presentation is that focus, right? Focus and do everything in a apa, in a focused manner. And in this book, it's called flow. Even though you are alone, even though you are a taxi driver who has a low income revenue, you can still be success if you do it wholeheartedly. And in this book, I think it captured the word of the flow. You can concentrating on one thing at a time, because it might be the single most important factor in achieving flow. I remember the story on the book is that the one who just lived and working as the one who in the elevator. Have you ever been in lift and there is one person who press the button? Which floor do you want to go, sir?
Don't forget mention to doorman, a person who open door.
Yeah, doorman who opens the door. That's the people who actually, even though we think like, oh, so pathetic, there's only that job, but no, turns out they love their job, makes them purpose of their life, make they do it so passionate, and so makes them feel content about their life, and makes me realize, wow, I need to be content with also with my life.
They think like
uh,
they can make other people's day a little bit happier or better by greeting them, be polite, make them feel somehow comfortable, right? Same thing in the
yes,
book also. Even though a small action, but it can brighten
Small
someone's
gesture.
day. Yeah, small
yes,
gesture.
Yes,
Exactly.
yep.
small
I mean,
gesture.
they can find a reason to make their job, have meaning to themselves
Mm.
and to others. That makes them really achieve their flow, even though we think like the activity is boring, something like that, but not. We are wrong to think like that. Um, and I found also the things that Pipit told me before, micro flow. It turns out I found in this book when Bill Gates microflow is washing the dishes every night, helps him to tune down, helps him to get relaxed. That's the terms that I learned from this workflow. So, in summarize, the reasons between the ikigai, the purpose of life, is broken down to 10 rules of ikigai, and it depends on you which the rules that you think is important. For me, the first one, stay active and don't retire. These people, centenarians, is it correct? They still active even though they are 100 years old. Sometimes they just stood in the front of their house, waving at everyone who passes by, or do uh, the how to say they have the small gardens to take care of. They have small meetings with their neighbor, something like that. So stay active and don't retire. Do the Japanese exercises, walking, something like that. And the second one that I think that really got my attention is don't fill your stomach. Less is more when it comes to eating for long life. So in Islam, we already got this saying, eat before you are hungry and finish
Before
before you are
full.
full. And actually, I was not really pay attention to that saying because what's the purpose of doing that? And then
Now we know.
now I know to have a longer life because turns out if we eat so many, it will be toxic in our body, right? Everything that we eat is actually toxic, and if we overeat, it will add more toxic in our body. And so, don't fill your stomach. That's why many people in Japan, in their older age, doesn't have a big belly like in Indonesia. They
Oh,
still
Ratu, well,
active.
I remember the new statistics now, a lot more people dead because of obesity than because of hunger. So now obesity is the bigger killer than hunger.
That's so on point. We have to really understand that we don't fill your stomach because of that many reasons. So remember, don't fill your stomach. Stop even though you don't feel full. And in the end, it will make you feel good. I already do it and it feels good. And surround yourself with good friends. It's so related to the quotes like if you are lonely, it's equals like 15 cigarettes a day. And people in Ikonawa Island is so close to their neighbor. They always do everything socially, help each other a lot, talk a lot, gossip a lot, something like that. That because makes them not feel lonely. And it happens also in other regions in the world that has people over 100 years old. They are so close to each other. So smile, reconnect with nature, give thanks. Don't forget to give thanks. Live in the moment. Even though I slightly disagree with live in the moment, as if we have to forget about the past or also don't worry about the future. But then live in the moment, like makes you somehow feels the time is slowing down and makes you feel like enjoy yourself more. Don't rush. Like the second one, take it slow. Live in the moment. And then the last one is follow your ikigai. There is a passion inside of you, a unique talent that gives meaning to your days and drives you to share the best of yourself until the very end. So that's it from ikigai. The things that I learned from ikigai. And if I want to give the ratings, I would rate this for 4. Yeah, spark joy. Yeah, 3.5 lah, 3.5, almost 4. And the next read, I will read Khalid books, the storytelling. And is there any question? I would like to ask, out of these 10 rules, Ikigai, which one do you think that you want to do and why? You haven't done it very properly and what you want to do it and why? Anyone?
Me? Can
Yeah,
I first?
Khalid? Yes.
The second rule, eating small portion.
Eating small portion.
Yeah, I will start doing now. I just watched your video YouTube about this community consists of older people, 100 years, and then they say that they eat only small bowl of rice every day. Even they working in rice field or taking care of their garden, they only eat small portions of small bowl of rice. It feels like, okay, I don't dig soil, I don't work under sun, direct sun, but I eat so much. It feels like, okay.
Yeah, yeah. The things that I also remember from the Ikigai book, that Japanese culture, they have these small plates. Yeah, when they are eating, many small plates containing different uh, foods, but in a small portions. That's the difference with like us. We eat in a bulk with only two kinds of meals, right? But in Japanese, they have more, I believe, more meals in one serving, but in small portions. That makes them uh, feel full easily because they have small plates and many meals in one serving. So I hope that we can eat concisely like Japanese people do because they don't offer it. How about you, Fio?
Uh, Following to my little answer, actually, Korean people also do that. So they just, eat a small bowl of rice, and then there is a lot of like kimchi, a lot of things. But
Yeah, I think small
all
portion. Yeah.
we just add cocoa in the big bowl, so
Yeah, the big
we can.
one. Oh my God. We have to follow
And
this.
Can I
And
share
what,
what I
Phil?
want to do?
Yes, Kapipit. Oh,
So I want to be able to do the flow as much as I can. Flow is actually almost like heaven, guys, if we actually get there. It's like
really?
when we reach flow, we really concentrate in doing what we're doing, right? Like time passes so quickly. It's like we cannot suddenly look, udah maghrib, right? And feel like I kind of miss that kind of feeling in our modern life right now. It's really difficult to get the flow, there are always distractions. People send us WhatsApp message, like I don't know, suddenly pop on laptop, discount 50%, Watsons or something. It's just like it's so hard to concentrate. But I remember in university, before internet was so big, I used to do a lot of flow. So I would be in the library trying to menulis karya tulis ilmiah, you know, and stack a lot of books from the library, just writing, not even typing. I actually wrote, then got home, I typed. And suddenly it's already, the library almost closed already. So I would be there for like 2 hours
KBB? Halo? Halo?
Mas Ratu, are you there?
Ratu, are you? Yeah,
Hello.
please.
Ratu, you were
Yeah,
gone.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm always disconnected. The last thing I heard is Mbak Pipit said that it's already midnight after she wrote things in the library.
Yeah, not midnight, but the library almost closed.
Almost closed.
But then my point is, in our modern life right now, it's really hard to achieve flow because so many distractions. And I actually heard there was a person who can achieve flow only when they're on the plane, right? Because no internet on the plane, no one contact them. So there was one important person, a rich guy, CEO or something. He actually booked a flight ticket from New York to Japan, return, just to be able to do his job. Jadi he sengaja di pesawat lama so no one can contact him. That's like how desperate it is to achieve flow.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting to know this words flow because somehow we realize it or not, in one point in our life we do something very focused. Everything was done in many things in a small times and limited times. We do many things so productively, and wow, it's already sorry in the afternoon. And I agree with you that somehow in this era, achieving flow is so hard because so many distractions. The thing that I do right now is to disable all of the notification from my phone. So basically, the notification that comes, I disable them. So that I just tap, hold them for long. There will be options to disable them. So in the future, they wouldn't even show up. The bad thing is, if someone called me from WhatsApp, I wouldn't know that they will call. But my life is getting so much freer that no one. So I know someone text me if I open the WhatsApp. I know someone email me if I open the email, not the other way around. So I am the control of my life instead of being disturbed by the notification. How
What
about you,
if
Kak
it's
Pipit?
important? What if it's important?
So that's just the perks and the downside of it. So notification from the is gone. So basically, I learned this from book that make time. So we need to really respect ourselves, our time in our life to put. Oh, this is the time for I to check my WhatsApp, my email, my Telegram. Other than that, I wouldn't check them. So my friend eventually will know that, oh, this time Ratu couldn't be contacted,
Sure.
disturbed, something like that. Or if you want to call Ratu, you have to ask him first when the Ratu could be called, something like that. So it helps me a lot. My phone is so silent. I mean, it's calmer right now. How about you?
Patut dicoba, but I'm afraid if my principal suddenly send me WhatsApp message.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, guys. I think that's from me. I think this is the last time for Phil. Phil, do you want to share uh, about the questions related to the book you have read?
But is
So,
that okay if this is a fiction book? Because
okay. The first question is tell about the book you want to discuss. The
okay,
general idea or the best key lessons.
okay. So the book that I just read in April is this Laut Bercerita by Leila Esudori, and the story is about an activist in 1998 that being kidnapped by the government. So this book is separate into chapter. The first chapter is told by the main character So the main character named Laut. So that's why the title is Laut Bercerita, because Mas Laut in this book is tell us the story. And then the second capture is from his sister named Asmara Jati. So I don't know why I bought this book actually. I just, uh, type on YouTube like book recommendation. And then that girl on YouTube just told me to read this book. Actually, I thought it about laut, I mean a sea, like maybe fish or something, but it turned out it's about an activist that being kidnapped. And then, okay, and then the best key lesson that I can get from this book, actually, we have to appreciate our family, that, I mean, the person that we have in our life right now. Because in this book, Mas Laut just disappeared for a years because the government chased him, like he has to move in Sumatra, Kalimantan, back to Java, some kind of that. And then the family cannot even, contact him, since this is in 1998, we don't have any phone. So, and also we have to fight for the thing that we believe in. I mean, Mas Laut in this story, an activist that want Pak Suharto to not becoming a president anymore. But is that okay if I spoil a little bit? I mean, in this, I mean the first
No, please,
capture.
because aku suka novel laut itu. Jangan di spoil.
Okay. So
Tapi
I
itu
mean,
aja.
in the first capture on this book, they all. I mean, even in the back of the book, they already told me that Mas Laut is being murdered. I mean, that's why Mas Laut told us the story from the bottom of the sea. So that's that. I think this kind of interest, because this is the dead man that told us the story, the whole story. So, and it is a little bit romance, but overall, by the way, I cried while reading to this book because of the family lesson. And then, I have a sister, so if my sister died, I would become so sad, right? Yeah, that's why I'm kind of related when our sibling just died. So, and then where's the next? Okay, is there anything you don't like about this book? I cannot even tell actually, because I haven't read a lot of book. So maybe I don't like this story. I mean, it is so cruel. Like the thing that government just did to Maslaut and his friends. I just, kind of disturbing to read that. But that was okay, because we have to know, because and then this story is based on an interview of some activists that being kidnapped in the past. And then that's why I don't like about this book, because it could be happen in the past. I mean, someone can really through this kind of life. So yeah, that was kind of disturbing for me. And what's your rating? 5 out of 5 actually, because as you know, I haven't read a lot of books, so maybe like, oh my god, this is the best book because I haven't read a lot of book. Okay, and I'm gonna reread this maybe in the future, because and then how Mbak Leila read the story, I just read this book in 2 days. Oh no. What? A day and a half actually, I think. That's why, because I read this just flow the story of this. And then there is any question. mm, have you ever read this, or maybe I don't know, because I'm not really care about the politic what happened back in 1998. So I don't know that this kind of thing could be happen in the past, like the government kidnap an activist, even murder them. So have you ever heard the story about it, or maybe you ever heard someone, maybe your neighbor or something that related to this kind of things in the real life, because I'm not like, am I believing this story like that? I like, is that true? Someone being kidnapped, in Markas, what, Markas Elang or something? Is that really happened in the past?
Yo, how
Because
old are you?
uh 22.
20 something.
22? Ah, that's
I
why.
I was born I was born in
So young.
1998. This
Ah,
Yeah.
happened when
No wonder, no
1919?
wonder.
What?
She doesn't
1919?
know anything.
19 what?
1998. 98.
1998. Oh, after reformasi ya. That's
Yes.
why. So you have never experienced Suharto era.
Yeah, no,
Mm.
no, I don't have that.
Well, since you
Mm.
asked, my grandpa was actually a political opponent of President Suharto. So he got executed.
Oh,
Uh,
My
he was
really?
God.
killed.
Oh my
So
God.
Oh,
Oh
since
my
you
God.
ask
that's.
whether you know anyone, so it's real. Things like this happen in
Oh,
Indonesia. I think
Okay.
the latest is probably 1990s during reformasi when the mahasiswa asking Suharto to step down. I think a lot of activists were kidnapped and some of them
Mm.
are declared dead because can never be found. So yes, that's a part of the dark politics of Indonesia, which is the reason
Dark.
actually
Mm.
Mas Laut
Dark
is on
history.
my reading list as well. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the best thing from fiction. You can insert message, and it feels like, is it real for someone so young like Pio? But it feels real because I was born in 1983 and I live in 1998 as a elementary. And I live in Riau province, and I heard from my mom again. My mom, I'm very close with my mom. I heard that she once mentioned there's man in our yeah place, village, residence, missing suddenly uh, before Maghrib or after Maghrib. Yeah. He was taken from his place, and then nobody knows about him anymore. And it feels like, if you don't think that this story doesn't real feel, we live in that moment. We live in that era, dark age of Indonesia. So it feels like, yeah, welcome.
So, Mas Ratu, it is actually a fiction story, but based on true story. Not Mas Laut is a fictional character, but Mbak Leila just interview a lot of activists that been kidnapped in the past, because they
Mm.
have
oh,
to they have to, there's a lot of people that didn't come back, right? So that's
Yeah,
mm.
yeah.
he interviewed people that came back from that.
Writers using alias just to protect their family in case
Right
something
now
happens that.
they so I think it's okay right now, Kak Lip.
No, I think she mentioned the full name of
Wow.
the activist that threw this kind of thing in the past.
Sometimes journalists also
Oh.
journalists get got kidnapped
Yeah,
a lot of time.
journalist, yeah.
Yeah, journalists of Tempo and the Detik.com used to be a political magazine also
Magazine.
during Suharto, and a lot of their journalists were actually
Mm.
kidnapped. So yeah, Tempo and Detik itu.
Is there anyone who has been kidnapped and then got back,
Yes, and they
or they
Oh.
they
just
make
gone?
the government even more angry because they got kidnapped and a little bit di bluffed kan, sedikit dipukulin or something, and when they return they actually told people let's demonstrate. So it's the backfire. Yeah, I remember that story. So they thought like the
Yeah,
people would be
yeah.
afraid, but turned out it would motivate them even.
Oh my God, they are so brave, yeah. The people that they their life
On the
is
line.
at stake, but still, yeah, on the line, still do something.
So brave, so brave. Salute,
Uh,
salute.
I just remember when 1998, I was so small, but I can really remember people rioting to shops, local shops, everything. So
Pribumi,
chaos
pribumi.
everywhere. Yeah, I just remember that moment, and sadly, right now, if I read this again, there are so many rapes, something like that.
Chinese community.
It's sad. Chinese community. And this is why I like this discussion. I never expected that Theo will discuss a book that sparked the conversation related to the past. Ah.
Just because Pio asked, it is real? Is it really happening? Yeah, it does happening. Even
Oh, yeah.
Can't
yeah,
even imagine.
even even in our history book, yeah, and curriculum doesn't mention it, but doesn't mean it doesn't happen. It didn't happen. It doesn't mean it didn't happen. It
That was
it
true.
I
did
think it's
happen.
too soon because the perpetrators are still alive. That's why
Mm.
it's kind of they don't want to teach it because it will offend a lot of people. Right?
Yeah.
Even in this book also mentioned that government also banned a book by, I forgot the name,
Oh,
Pramudia.
author that we cannot we're not allowed to read that book or even a
Pramudia.
poet by Rendra.
Pramudian Tatur.
Oh, W.S. Rendra.
I forgot. I don't know. In this book just mentioned Rendra and then Bumi Manusia.
Oh, yeah, Bumi
Pramudia.
oh,
Yeah,
Pranodia
Pramudia.
Catur.
they told me that
Yeah,
Pramudia's book didn't allow to sell or even you know a student cannot even discussion group about that book. So government just
really?
send a spy to know what kind of thing that this college student will gonna do in the future.
He
So
was
some kind
exiled to
Oh,
Pulau Buru in Maluku because of writing his book
um,
Bumi Manusia, and then anak bayang memburu apa itu? Anak bayang memburu angin apa ya? So he got exiled by the
yeah.
government to Pulau Buru in Maluku.
But the books are
Now
sold
yes, now
freely
yes,
in Google
Yeah,
Play.
Google
now
Play.
Yeah.
yes, yes. Now after Soeharto done,
Collapse.
but during Soeharto, there's no way. There's no way.
in
Thank
book
God, Pio, you live now.
in this book the university student just copy the book legally illegally so they can discuss about this book and I think like oh my god is this actually happen in the future. I mean because our president like more like a dictator right now. We call that dictator, right? I mean, but in the past, oh my god,
Yeah, it happened in the past.
have that kind of president and people just silent. And that's why I'm happy to read there is a people. I mean for me, I'm also a university student right now. But if there is that kind of thing, am I gonna fight for that or not? Because yeah, I'm too
That's a
lazy
big
to talk about
question. That's a big
politics.
question.
So I just ask myself, if I was Mas Laut, am I gonna fight for that? I mean,
No,
am
no.
am I gonna do that? So Mas Laut was really great character, give us a lot of message to
Yeah,
Mm,
that's a really difficult question because
Mm.
you literally can die anytime. But if no
yeah.
yeah.
one do that, if no one's doing that, then there will be no change. So memang
Mm,
harus ada yang dikorbankan. It's almost like.
yep.
By the way, guys,
Salute.
I have time right now since I have arrived. Can I share also my book? But only 4
Oh
minutes
yeah.
left.
Okay. Come on.
But
Yeah.
Theo, what do you want to
Kapipit.
read
Come on.
next?
What?
What do you want to read next, Phil?
Is that the book that you've already mentioned or any kind of books? Start to read this book, Philosophy Terrace.
Philosophy
Yeah,
Terrace.
but and I just
Oh,
give any kind of mark because yeah, I remember Mas Ratu said that Ikigai book just summarize all of the book that already exists. Maybe for me, I because I just, oh my god, this is something new. But like,
Ratu is frozen again. Ratu, are you back from dasar laut?
Betulan loh.
Ratu looks
Dia
so
betul-betul frozen.
stunned. Like,
it's like
wait, let me check. Can you hear us?
I think Mas Ratu haven't paid internet bill.
Just cut.
Can you hear us, Ratu? No, we cannot hear him too. Oh, well, sorry to hear that. So I'll just go down, yeah? Okay, so the book I'm reading is Big Ideas in Brief. It's 200 most important ideas. It's pretty thick, but it's also small. So although it's thick, it's small, and I actually like this kind of book. It's like what I read last month about philosophy, right? The kumpulan philosophy explained in brief. Discussed briefly. Just like segments, we have philosophy, religion, science, politics, economics, society, psychology, and art. So these are like the basic things we need to know about the fields that I mentioned just now. And I really like it because I feel like I'm back in school again, like in high school, in university. There are so many things that I think I should have learned since a long time ago, but I didn't get a chance to learn it that time. So this is like catching up with time, like, FOMO, fear of missing out. So I think this is the cure for my FOMO. I feel like I should have learned this a long time ago. And not so many things that I find good to something, it doesn't mean that the quality of that thing is good. What it shows is actually we approve it. That's it. So when I say, oh, my car is good, it doesn't mean that it is actually good. It just means that I approve it. To me, it's approvable. And also the golden rule. If you want to decide whether things that we do is good or not, try to imagine everyone is doing that. If the result is good, then probably that's the best. If the result is bad, probably that's not the best or the worst. Just like what Theo said, should I be the one against the government if this happens because I'm afraid? Now imagine if everyone afraid, not just you, right? Imagine everyone has the same decision like you. What would happen? Oh, then there will be no change, right? But imagine if you decide to fight for freedom, fight for change, then imagine a lot of people do it at the same time. Oh, the result will be good. Then that 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 is a clue that your decision is actually the correct one. So that's the golden rule. And another thing that I like is, wait, I put the tadi udah oh, a lot of people just sensing without percepting. So this is what I found also interesting. So sometimes we just sense it, but we don't actually feel it. That's why a lot of people do yoga right now, right? Because we want to be present, sensing it. Okay. Oh, I actually have. Tadi udah aku lipat, but somehow it's like hilang. Okay, appearance. Appearance can be deceptive. For example, when we look at the sun from outside, from the appearance, it looks like the sun is circling around us, right? But actually, in reality, we are the ones circling around the sun. So appearance can be deceptive. This is it that I really like. This type of things I find over and over again. That's why I have so many lines here and there to remind myself what I need to learn next time. Okay, but so many, so I cannot share all of them. And what I rate this book is 4 out of 5. Supposed to be 5, but I decided to give 4 because not all of the topics are important. Sometimes the topic is about beauty. Another topic is about happiness. Another topic is about uh, what is morality, for example. All of these things are too simple to be explained further. Like, duh, I understand what it is already. Why you dedicate 2 pages talking about beauty, for example, right? So I think the selection needs to be improved because not all of the topics discussed here are important. And the next one is, are there any question? Yes, the question is, which field you like best? Philosophy, religion, science, politics, economic, society, or psychology or art? That's a lot.
Psychology, I think, yeah.
Yeah. Philosophy, religion, science, politics,
Politics.
and then economic, society, psychology, art. Which one are you interested the most?
Hmm. I am interested in art, psychology, and social, I think.
Art, psychology, and social in that order?
Yeah. Is it matter? Does it
It
matter?
matters because that shows your priority.
Oh.
Art is like painting itu loh, painting, all of this.
Uh,
Masa itu your priority?
oh, into design, not
Yeah,
painting.
that's correct. How about you, Kak Lid?
Huh? Me?
How about you, Kak Lid? What's your priority? What you want to learn more?
Science.
Oh, you like science?
Science.
What is the second
Science.
one?
Oh, economic society. Yeah,
Economic and
science.
society. Okay.
Science,
How about you,
economic
Theo?
society.
I'll do philosophy and psychology.
Oh, okay, philosophy. They said this book will help you choose what's your next book you want to discuss. It's impossible for us to learn a lot of things. It says what is worth learning. What is worth learning? We need to ask that whenever we choose a book. So many things we can learn. But what is worth learning? Apa yang patut dipelajari? It's impossible to learn about all of things. So that's why it has the apa segmented into field, and then it teaches us to prioritize which one you like best, and then read something about it. And my next book is I will read the short biography of Leonardo da Vinci, because the reason is I already have the book, so that's easy. Second, he's mentioned over and over again in this book. So Leonardo da Vinci was good in science, philosophy, arts, and society as well. So I'm thinking, oh yeah, must be an important figure. So I will read about short biography of Leonardo da Vinci. That is it from me.
Yeah. Thank you, Kak Pipit. Yeah. The discussion is always alive when you are here. Okay. For information, our voice note program will be started uh, 17, yeah, 17 May, and I think we're going to have only for voice notes, and then we're going to meet whether in 5 or 6 June. I do hope everyone is still safe and still healthy so we can meet there and talk about the books that we are reading. And Theo, if you don't mind, I would like to invite you to our group in Telegram
Oh,
because we're doing that on Telegram, not in WhatsApp.
okay.
All right.
That would be
Okay. So basically, we're going to do the voice note thingy, and you are welcome to participate every month or to take a break and then participate again. It's up to you. Uh, the the most important thing is that we are reading actively, not just by reading it, but also talking about it, especially on our monthly meeting. So, guys, that's it. I will upload this video on YouTube. See you later and have a great day.
Thank you, Ratu, for
Okay.
organizing. See you next month.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you next month. Thank you, Vio. Thank you, Khalid.
Sama-sama.
Bye. See you.